to wrap things up, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now
Yeah.
you can't see the smile that went across my face
Mm-hmm.
when I said that name. This game is so good. So I told you this, but I played the Junon demo 3 times. I put
Yep.
7 hours into this game before the game came out. And I did everything I possibly could. I was almost afraid that I ruined that specific part of the game for myself. But it was honestly such a small slice of the entire game. And that area is way different in full game. It turns out they were gating off literally half of Junon, and they moved all of the activities around, so it was almost like a completely different area. This game is so fun. I've really got a handle on the combat from playing the demo, but I was still struggling on how to use Tifa. But now I figured it out, and she's real fun to use. Now no matter which set of characters I'm using in my party, I'm always having fun, no matter who they are.
Right.
20 hours in, and most of the time has been doing every side quest available in certain areas before doing a story mission and moving on to the next. Essentially, you go to these big open areas, you explore, do a story mission, moving on to the next area. It's basically like a road trip. And you know, the focus is more on exploring the new areas you visit, and then doing the kind of like the main mission afterwards. But the story is still good. I'm braced for the confusing aspects I've been hearing people talk about, but I honestly feel like they'll have to do some out of pocket stuff to confuse me. But the man who wrote Kingdom Hearts, Tetsuya Nomura, helped create this franchise and is a writer on these games. So if anyone can confuse a comic book and Metal Gear fan like myself, it'll be him.
Yeah.
Because Kingdom Hearts is crazy. The side quests in this game are pretty good so far, and none of them feel like they're just there to fill out the open world and give you things to do. They're actually fun. The mini games. There's a card game called Queen's Blood that I am obsessed with, and there's a quest line with it that is straight out of Yu-Gi-Oh! With someone being trapped in this game's equivalent of the Shadow Realm. This Queen's Blood is so fun. Every time I go into a new town, I'm like, all right, who wants to play me in Queen's Blood? Who wants to lose? I need someone to play me. I'm only 20 hours in, and it's wild to say I'm only 20 hours in. Sometimes that's an entire game. But it's an RPG.
Right.
And there was a Fort Condor segment, but I don't think there will be more Fort Condor than that, and I'm upset because I want more Fort Condor. But Queen's Blood is really fun. So I have only a few negatives. There are a few outdated open world game design features like towers that have to be climbed to unlock objectives on that map. And for me, what makes it feel outdated isn't the tower itself, but because I honestly don't mind that trope. It's that climbing in this game sucks. It's so unnecessarily slow if you're not climbing up a ladder. But luckily, you don't do it too much, but you do it just enough to where it's like, why is this so slow? So many games have climbing. How have you not figured out how to do climbing, Square Enix? What's happening? But yeah, it's weird. Also, some of the side quests involve doing weird rhythm puzzles that aren't fun at all. And they are just tedious. It's very strange sometimes. But other than that, I love it. Having a good time. There's a piano rhythm game in it that's really fun. And I did it. I realized I'm kind of good at it. Well, I'm not playing on like hard stuff. Actually, it gets harder the better you do. Like mid doing it, it will up the difficulty once it notices you're doing well. Because I did it the first time, messed up a lot, and I was like, okay, dang, that's crazy. Did it again, perfection. I was hitting every note perfectly. I didn't miss one until the difficulty spiked, and I was like, hold on, what's happening? This is not what was happening last time.
Right.
My goal was to memorize it and then do it perfectly, but no, you had to switch it up, but I still did good. Got an A+. So
that's very Square Enix. I'll say that.
Yeah, the combat in this game is so fun. It's so good, and the changes and improvements that they've made have made it just so much more enjoyable than it was for me in Remake. You can put whatever ability you want on button shortcuts, where you hold the left bumper and press a face button. That was in the first Remake as well, but I feel like I've been using it so much more this time around. It makes the game feel like it's more real time than it actually is. I honestly think that a Persona game or a game made by Atlas with a combat system like this would be really fun. I could confidently say that I like this game's combat more than 16's, but I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. The perfect Final Fantasy combat system, or like RPG combat system for me, will combine both of their combat systems. First and foremost, there would need to be a party system where you can swap between individual characters during combat and actually play as them like you can in Final Fantasy VII, because that is one of the things that 16 lacked. And as a result, the combat got extremely repetitive and tedious, especially in the third act. Also, I think part of that is due to the fact that there are no mini games in Final Fantasy 16 because it's a much more serious game. And I think not breaking up the action like that made the action get real boring real fast. But yeah, I would have there be a party system of a decent amount of characters that you can switch out, so that, you know, if you get bored with some characters, you switch to different characters, like in Rebirth. I'll replace the ATB bars in Final Fantasy VII with just cooldowns. Instead of having to wait for a bar to go up to use certain abilities, I would just have the more powerful abilities be put on cooldowns. But I would still keep the slow down time ability, specifically so that you can issue commands to your party members without having to switch to them to do a move. But for the most part, I would still want it to be like real time action, and the only time you slow down is to issue commands to your party members. And the basic elemental attacks, which cost an ATB bar in Final Fantasy VII, would be like they are in 16, where in 16 they're just a basic projectile. You just press triangle, and Clive shoots fireballs or ice or whatever. I would have it be like that, but the more powerful versions are on a cooldown, like all of the other attacks. And lastly, synergy attacks, which are these team up attacks in Rebirth. I would have those be in the game as well. So, you know, just add another layer to the combat. But that would be my perfect like RPG combat system. But yeah, that's all I got. This game's real fun. It's so good. I'm gonna play it immediately after this call. Actually, I'm gonna read reviews, guys. Then I'm gonna hop right back into that game. But yeah, this game's great. I feel like you'd like it.
I definitely do think I would.
You gotta check out these remake games eventually. You probably.
I do.
Oh yeah, I forget that Rebirth is PlayStation exclusive for now. But it'll be on PC eventually.
Yes, and then I will play it.